Some of you may have heard the phrase that children learn more from what is caught than what is taught. I don't remember where that stems from exactly, where I heard that. Maybe that's a Love and Logic thing. I'm not sure. But it is important for us to remember that as adults, as parents, as caregivers, that we do have a responsibility to the children in our care to model, what we expect of them. So I'm sure you all know the phrase, do as I say, don't do as I do, right? But that's not actually how it works in real life. Or, yeah, that's just not how it works. Because we can tell our kids for days on end to do this or do that or use your manners, say, excuse me, apologize, say you're sorry, but that doesn't make them actually sorry. That doesn't really actually make them grateful. And so anyways, if we want our kids to show good manners, if we want our kids to be empathetic, if we want our kids to be responsible, all of these things, really, we have a responsibility to make sure we are doing those things as well. And so, when we mess up, it's okay for us to tell our kids, I'm sorry, and apologize for whatever it is. Like I said, I am no parenting expert. I am in the trenches with all of you. I'm not perfect and I mess up. And really, the nice thing about this type of parenting style that, is mostly based off of that child-centered, play therapy training I've had is that when your relationship is strong with your kids, that gives you more leeway to mess up without severing your relationship. When there's that strong relationship and connection, children are more forgiving. They're more willing to forgive you and forget about it. It's not as damaging. Now, when we don't have a strong relationship and we totally mess up and we lose our cool and we yell and we, maybe say unkind things or whatever, and we go back to apologize later, our kids are not going to be as forgiving. So kind of the cool thing about this type of parenting style is when we really put the time and effort into building, that strong relationship with our child, then it kind of serves us also in that we can mess up and, it's not going to be as damaging to our relationship. But like I said, like we can apologize too, and that shows our kids, that we're human. We're not like these invincible superhero mom and dad, grandma, teacher, whatever. Like we're human too. And a phrase that I use a lot with my kids is, you know what? Even mommies mess up sometimes. Even mommies forget sometimes. Even mommies make mistakes. And we're human. And so apologizing when we mess up, making sure when we're out in public, we're saying excuse me, we're holding the door for others. I I lived in Chicago for about 5 years, and I developed some road rage while I was there. I don't have it nearly as bad as I used to, but my kids hear that when I'm in the car and I'm not being patient, and if I'm saying unkind things to the other drivers who can't hear me, but my kids hear me, right? And they've repeated some of the stuff that has been said, and maybe I'm not super proud of that. I'm sure some of you can relate, right? But if we want our kids to say and do kind things and be respectful and use their manners, it starts with us because they're looking to us to learn, okay? They're catching what we're doing and they're taking their cue from us. So if we say please and thank you at restaurants, if we, let people, we hold the door for them, or while we're driving, we let people come in through traffic, and we're patient and just let them go. When we're kind and do things like that, that's where the real learning is happening. It's not because I'm telling them, say you're sorry to your sister. It's, because when I've messed up and I've hurt somebody, you know, gosh, the most recent thing in my mind is my daughter with her car seat. She's still in a 5-point harness, and I don't know what it is about this car seat, but it has like these attachments on the shoulders, And for whatever reason, when I tighten her belt, it just loves to like pinch her. And man, I can tell that it's hurtful, like that it really hurts her. And I don't know how many times I've apologized for that. Um, but she's so sweet because, she's crying because it hurts. It pinched her. And, I'll tell her like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean, to hurt you. And I'm apologizing. And even though she's still crying, it's okay, mommy, I forgive you. And it's like, oh, it just like melts my heart. It breaks my heart at the same time, too, that I've accidentally hurt my child with this darn seatbelt. But, like she's learned that, we apologize and then we also work to forgive others too when they mess up, when they mess up, because um, we all do, right? Um, I'm trying to think of other things, you know, even just things that my kids say and do, when people sneeze, they automatically just say, bless you, and that's something because through growing up, they've just heard mom and dad say bless you when people sneeze. Um, whether it's I don't know, in our family, we do dinner prayers, so saying the prayer at dinner time or lunchtime or whatever it is. But they're taking our cue from us. And so when they have good examples to look at, um, then they you know, I don't know, they follow that. And when I was working in the community as a play therapist, you would see that stuff in the playroom too, the words that they say, how they're treating like the baby, how they're engaging with other characters and things like that. Like they're playing out their world and their experience and they're trying to make sense of that. And so firsthand as a mom with my own kids, firsthand with kiddos that I've done play therapy with, I can 100 million% tell you that kids learn from what they hear, from what they see, from what they're experiencing. So, how can we as parents make sure the example that we are showing them is positive, is respectful, is responsible, is kind, is polite? And so, if you find yourself telling your kids, use your manners, say please, say thank you, say you're sorry, that's a can be a cue to yourself to say, ooh, maybe that's something that I need to do some more modeling of so that my kiddos can see that in action of what should happen when somebody gets hurt, when somebody's feelings get hurt, when somebody's in my way and I need to get by. I don't push them. I don't, I use my words and say, excuse me, or whatever it may be, right? So if we find ourselves constantly reminding our kids of the right way to do things, it's just, and it's not meant to like shame parents or whatever. None of us are perfect. I mean, I still find myself telling my kids, what do you say? What do you say to so and so? So it's just as much as a reminder for me, but that can just be a cue to like, huh, am I doing that in my life? Am I showing my kiddos how to do that by the things that I'm saying and the things that I'm doing? Um, and so, again, this is not meant to shame anybody. We're all doing the best that we can. Truth be told, we we were parented a certain way, and that's really all we know. There is no handbook for this stuff. We kind of just learn through our own experience of what works for us because all of our kids are unique and we're all different and unique as parents. And so what works for one kid isn't going to work for another. So, you just kind of got to figure it out, what works for you and your kid and your family. But what I can say is more is caught than taught. So, again, if you find yourself repeating certain things that you want your children to do, um, just think, am I doing that? Am I modeling that for them? Have they been exposed to me doing it the correct way or the way that I want them to do it? Because kids reenact, um, repeat the things that they see, the things that they hear in the world that's going on around them. Okay, so yes, more is caught than taught.